Some fighters talk a big game, but when it's time to back it up, they quickly realize confidence alone doesn't win fights. Today, we're diving into some of the most brutal and satisfying knockouts in women's MMA, where overconfidence met cold, hard reality. From trash talk gone too far to shocking upsets that left fans speechless. Let's break down the moments that proved why arrogance can be a fighter's biggest weakness. Holly Holm versus Ronda Rousey, UFC 193. The kick heard around the world. But just 3 fights later, it was Ronda's turn to be humbled. Going into UFC 193, Rousey was the face of women's MMA. She had destroyed every opponent before her, winning most fights in under a minute. Fans believed she was unstoppable. Even Ronda herself dismissed Holly Holm as just a boxing champion, not a real threat in MMA. Holm, however, had other plans. At the weigh-ins, Holm extended her gloves as a sign of respect. Rousey? She refused. The tension was at an all-time high and everyone could feel it. This fight was different. When the fight began, Rousey was completely outclassed. Every time she rushed in, Holm made her pay with perfectly timed counterstrikes. Rousey's famous judo skills neutralized. Her aggression turned against her. Then in round 2 it happened. Holm faked a punch, Rousey moved right into position, and boom! A head kick straight to the jaw. Rousey collapsed instantly, and before she could recover, the ref stepped in. The invincible champion was no more. The world watched in shock as Holly Holm was declared the new champion, proving that underestimating an opponent can cost you everything. It was one of the biggest upsets in UFC history. Elle Brooke versus Ms. Daniela, the underdog triumphs. At the face-off, Ms. Daniela thought she had this fight in the bag. She mocked Elle Brooke's smaller stature, even shoving her at the weigh-ins. But Elle didn't flinch. She was ready to prove her doubters wrong. When fight night arrived, Daniela came out swinging. But Elle had a game plan. She stayed patient, picked her shots, and systematically broke Daniela down over 5 rounds. By the end, Daniela's arrogance had been completely shattered. Elle walked away victorious, proving once again that size and ego mean nothing when you have skill and heart. Amber O'Donnell didn't just talk trash. She pushed, taunted, and tried to get inside Emily Brooks' head before the fight even began. "I'm ready. I'm so hungry to smash your chin," she bragged at the weigh-ins. But words mean nothing when the punches start flying.
"I'm so hungry to smash your fucking chin."
Once the fight started, Emily Brooks stayed cool, calm, and collected, something Amber clearly couldn't handle. Every time Amber got aggressive, Emily countered with crisp strikes and technical precision. As the rounds went on, Amber's trash talk turned into frustration. By the final bell, her cockiness had evaporated completely. The judges scored the fight in Emily Brooks' favor, another unanimous decision win. Amber walked away bruised, defeated, and hopefully with a little less attitude. Paige VanZant made waves when she transitioned from the UFC to bare-knuckle boxing, but at the weigh-ins before her fight with Britain Hart, she let her emotions get the best of her, shoving Hart by the throat in an aggressive display of dominance. Hart, unfazed, simply smirked. She knew the real fight hadn't even started yet. Once they stepped in the ring, Paige quickly realized that bare-knuckle boxing was a different beast. Hart's experience and striking were levels above. She controlled the distance, landed clean combinations, and made Paige look like an amateur. At one point, Paige resorted to throwing a sneaky punch to the back of Hart's head, an act of desperation that only exposed her frustration. By the final bell, the decision was obvious. Britain Hart had dominated every round, walking away with a unanimous victory. Paige, she left with bruises on her face and her ego. Leading up to UFC 190, Correia didn't just mock Ronda Rousey, she made it personal. Correia went after Ronda's personal life, mocking her Hollywood fame and even making an insensitive comment about suicide, something deeply personal to Rousey, whose father had tragically taken his own life. That crossed the line, and Ronda made it very clear she planned to make her pay inside the cage. The tension was palpable at the press conference. Correia strutted in, full of confidence, convinced that Rousey was just another overhyped star. But Ronda, she was laser-focused, not engaging in the trash talk, just waiting for fight night to settle things the right way. And when the fight began, it was over before Correia even knew what hit her. In just 34 seconds, Ronda overwhelmed her with brutal strikes, landing a devastating right hand that sent Correia crashing to the canvas. As she stood over her fallen opponent, Rousey delivered the ultimate mic drop moment, throwing Correia's own words back at her, "Don't cry." The crowd went wild. Correa had been silenced in the most fitting way possible. Kamila Smogoletska, better known as Zushie, had no shortage of arrogance before this fight. She strutted into the weigh-ins, towering over her opponent, Kamila Wibraniec, and openly mocked her smaller size. Zushie didn't just think she would win, she thought she'd embarrass her opponent. And for a moment, it looked like she might be right. She controlled the fight early, throwing powerful strikes that had Kamila backing up, but then the tables turned. Kamila absorbed the shots, stayed composed, and started picking her openings. She landed clean punches, cracking Zushie's confidence round by round. Then in the second round, she took things to the ground, her specialty. After some brutal ground and pound, Kamila locked in a rear naked choke. Zushie, the once arrogant showboater, had no choice but to tap out. She came in thinking she'd dominate, but she left humbled and defeated. Karolina Wojcik is no stranger to confidence, some might even say overconfidence. She walked into her fight against Cheyenne Vlismas, brimming with bravado, brushing off her opponent like she was just another easy win. But the second that bell rang, Cheyenne set the record straight. Her first punch landed like a hammer, instantly wiping the smirk off Karolina's face. Cheyenne's crisp striking and relentless combos sent Karolina to the canvas early. But credit where it's due, Karolina wasn't going down without a fight. She bounced back in the second round, showing resilience and heart. The crowd loved it, but Cheyenne wasn't done proving a point. In the third round, she found her rhythm again and started landing clean, precise shots that shut Karolina down completely. By the end, the judges had no doubts. Cheyenne took home the split decision victory, another cocky fighter put in her place. Taylor Starling, better known as Killer B, didn't just come to fight, she came to put on a show. Swaggering into the ring with the energy of a superstar, she had all the confidence of a seasoned champion. Some even called her the female Conor McGregor. At the face-off with Christine Ferreira, the tension was undeniable. Taylor was cocky, taunting, and ready to make a statement, but when the fight actually started, reality hit hard, literally. The first punch she threw only seemed to piss Ferreira off. What followed was a brutal beatdown that left Taylor reeling. Ferreira's clean punches landed over and over, rocking Taylor's head back. A devastating uppercut sent her crashing down. She turned to her corner, begging for an out, but her team ignored her. The ref didn't step in either, and that's when Ferreira went in for the kill, unleashing a barrage of punches until Taylor had no choice but to surrender. Talk all you want before the fight, but once you're in the ring, there's nowhere to hide. Joanna Jędrzejczyk wasn't just the UFC strawweight champion, she was undefeated, dominant, and relentless in her mental warfare. Leading up to UFC 217, she unleashed a verbal onslaught on Rose Namajunas, trying to rattle her opponent at every turn. At the press conferences, Joanna was cocky, taunting Rose and even getting in her face during the weigh-ins. She told the world she would retire undefeated and treated Rose as just another stepping stone, but Namajunas wasn't playing her game. Instead of firing back, she stayed calm, focused, almost zen-like, as if she knew something the world didn't. And then fight night happened. Joanna entered the octagon with her usual swagger, confident as ever. But from the opening bell, it was clear this fight wasn't going to go how she expected. Just a minute and a half in, Rose landed a clean left hook that sent Joanna crashing to the canvas. The crowd erupted as Namajunas wasted no time, swarming her with punches until the ref had to step in. Just like that, the undefeated champion was defeated. Joanna had talked a big game, but when it mattered most, Rose let her fists do the talking. And in true warrior spirit, she reminded everyone, it's not about trash talk, it's about respect. The fight game is brutal, and instant karma is always waiting for those who let arrogance blind them. One moment you're on top of the world, the next you're flat on your back staring up at the lights. So what do you think? Which knockout was the most satisfying? Who had the biggest fall from grace? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more epic fight moments. See you in the next video.